Welcome back to Historic Tahlequah. I'm here with Mrs. Audrey Pullen, Mrs. Robert and Marie Pullen, in her wonderful house on Bluff Avenue, and it's such a wonderful house. And Audrey and I spent yesterday together talking about the house, and Audrey got out her abstract for me, and the house goes back to the Dawes Commission and to the allotment when it was allotted first to Henry C. Barnes and his sisters, as we talked. And I was telling Audrey this morning, I have learned that Henry C. Barnes was city clerk before statehood even, and there is a record in the newspaper of his having been in his new home in 1888, and you don't know whether that was this home or not.
No, I don't have anything about that.
Well, tell me, Audrey, what you had heard from Mr. Wiley about the house being moved. Tell us about that.
He just said it was moved in from Wolf Springs, and it was at the time that the Cherokee lands were made available to people.
All right. So it's possible then that the original house was moved in 1888.
We just don't. Well, we just thought of it as from 1907 because that was when the records began to be kept.
Right, but I do know from newspaper records that Mr. Barnes was did have a new home. So we just really don't know.
Sometimes it was called the Coursey House.
Yes,
it was.
Mr. Coursey was one of the owners, and another of the owners were Mary Catherine and Greg James.
Sometimes it was called the Greg James House.
Right, and you all bought it in 1944? 1955. 1955. Well, Audrey, when you moved here, of course it was this big, beautiful home, and the extension in the back.
It was the way it is now, except that with the screened-in porch has been made into the family room.
All right, it was like it is now, except for the screen-in porch. And a lot of the older homes people then enclosed and made family rooms or some kind of an enclosed room.
It works a lot better for us.
Yes.
We used to sit around the fireplace, which was nice. You couldn't hear anybody at the door, and we weren't very warm.
That's true.
So we have a family room with a wood stove, and we're more comfortable.
That's right. In the older homes, that was true.
And you can hear people when they come to the door.
That's right. That's right.
You're not just in the middle.
And as I looked at your abstract, he had Mr. Barnes when he received it, from the Cherokee Nation as a grant in 1907. It was 5 lots here, and that's a lot of land.
It's about 4 now.
It's about 4 lots now. Well, and it does have an upstairs.
Yes, it does.
And there are bedrooms upstairs too. Is there the extension that was the kitchen that goes back to the east? Is there a room over that too?
It's a storeroom. It's like an igloo. It's like this. If you bend over and go in, then you can stand up.
Oh, you're right. We
call it the attic, but it's actually a storeroom.
It's actually a storeroom. And of course there are full-sized rooms upstairs over the main part of the house.
Well, this living room is about 15 by 30 with a 12-foot ceiling. The bedroom is 15 by 30, but it doesn't have that high a ceiling.
Right. Well, let's...
there are 3 bedrooms upstairs.
3 bedrooms upstairs.
And 1 down.
Well, let's talk just a little bit about probably the best known owners, the J.A. Lawrence family. They were the second owner, and Mr. Lawrence was a businessman, and I checked on him. He came to Tahlequah in 1889 and became a partner with the Wileys in the Lawrence and Wiley Mercantile Company. And he was president of the First National Bank from 1907 to 1910, had been vice president before that. And you and I were talking yesterday, he had been married twice. He was from Texas and had been a prosecuting attorney in Texas, and his first wife was a Texan. And they were married in 1884. And actually, I think he came here before 1889 because she died in they were married in 1884, and she died in 1887. So I found another record that said he came to town actually in 1882. At any rate, she died here, and you and I went out and looked at her grave.
We did. It's beautiful.
Gravestone, the first wife, Dora. Her name was Dora Wilson. And then later, he married Sarah Jane.
William made Bluey.
Bluey. Sarah Jane.
She was Virginia Adair.
Adair, and her nickname was Bluey. And you told me why she was called Bluey.
Well, Marion Hagerstrand told me she had beautiful blue eyes. She had a neat little figure and beautiful blue eyes, and she was known as Bluey.
And people called her Bluey instead of Sarah. Right. And they had 2 sons. And you told me the nickname of one of those sons
Was Boydare.
Boydare. And his name, I looked it up, and his name was actually Joseph Adair Lawrence.
Well, Sidney said he was a really big man. He was Boydare.
He was Boydare.
And he said Mr. Lawrence was a cotton broker.
Right.
That must have been among the many things that he did.
Among the many things that he did, yes. And that Lawrence family are well known, and of course the entire family is buried, not only the first wife, Mrs. Dora Lawrence, but the entire family is buried in.
Well, Sidney said she had the Cherokee heritage.
Right.
And that he thought Mr. Lawrence didn't.
Right, that's right. Mr. Lawrence was a Texan. And I did look up the family. She was the daughter of Benjamin and Mary Adair, and they're listed in Starr's History of the Cherokees, you know, so it was a prominent Cherokee family. And I was interested in what you said about her because I looked some things up. She was on the library board, and she was very active in the United Methodist Church.
And you said she had taught?
Yes, she was. Before she married Mr. Lawrence, she taught at the Cherokee Female Seminary and also at the Cherokee Orphanage. And she was just a very civic-minded.
She's part of the community.
Just a very much part of the community. Well, when we come back, Audrey, I want us to talk about when you came to town and when your parents-in-law came to town and some of the historic facts, because we have pictures of those too.